What is up, my fellow golf ball addicts? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are re-reviewing for this season our #1 golf ball on the top 100 last year. That, of course, being the PXG Xtreme Tour and the PXG Xtreme Tour X. Let's dive right in. As always, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Everyone who's liking and commenting and subscribing, the channel continues to do wonderful, and I'm in your debt for that. Thank you so much for watching this content and being involved in this community. If you want to donate further, we have a membership. It just starts at $1 a month, and it just helps me provide even more content for you. But if not, I understand the free stuff is awesome too. Thank you all so much. So, top 100 last year, the PXG Xtreme Tour and Xtreme Tour X had a huge upset and got #1 and #2. Quick recap, how did that happen? Well, this golf ball didn't do anything perfect last year. It just did everything really, really well. It just had a 9 out of 10 on performance across the board, and then it had, a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 durability, and it just did basically every single category we had. It was incredible. It got bonus points because, PXG takes care of first responders and teachers and nurses, and so you could get the golf ball for a ridiculously low price. And I mean, you can sit here and we can talk about it all day, but it just did so many things well that it just kept increasing it on the points, and it ended up with the most points out of all of them, and so that's how we got here. Will it end up there again this year? I doubt it. The top 100 is just so, because I change the metrics every year and I change the testing every year, it is so difficult for a golf ball to repeat. Let's just get that out of the way and be clear right now. It's almost impossible. I'm not saying it is impossible. It's just when because like last year we were using 9-iron and a hybrid. This year we're using pitching wedge and just a 7-iron, no mid-iron club or a long iron club. I'm also testing at a slower swing speed than I did last year, and a lot of you probably know that this golf ball, it's a firmer compression. It's a very big firm compression. I think the Xtreme Tour is in the mid-90s, and then the Tour X is like pushing 100, if not just over. In fact, if we look at this chart right here, as you can see, yeah, that is the case. And then if we also look at just our color options, the Xtreme Tour comes in, it looks like a yellow as well as a white, but the Xtreme Tour X only comes in the white at the moment, at least according to PXG's website. I feel like at one time they were going to. I don't know what happened there. But let's look at that price point as well. $35 a dozen, and that's MSRP right now. You've been able to get them for that since really the beginning. And then, like I said, if you are a nurse or a military veteran or a hero, as they call it, they'll take care of you, and you can get them down to even like $28 a dozen, which is just insane. I mean, it's an awesome deal. So that's why PXG continues to get so many loyal followers, not just through golf balls, but mainly through their clubs, because they do the same thing. They do discounts and take care. So yeah, that's another bonus and brownie point for them for sure. If we look at the design of these golf balls, as you can see here, this is the front of it. I actually like PXG's logo. I know some people don't. To me, it's kind of got a Top Gun type of feel, kind of like a battle plane from World War II type of feel. I like it a lot. You can indicate the number. The black number means it's just the Xtreme Tour. The red means it's the Xtreme Tour X. It looks good. It looks premium. It feels premium. If we turn them over on the side here, this is the alignment tool, and this is, again, one of those little bonus points that I really loved last year because, yes, it has that nice thick line, but it also has the perpendicular line so you can line your face up. Extremely simple, but looks very classy, looks very, premium, looks very professional, but it also just adds that little bit of detail that I need. I love lining my face up. I struggle with that, so that's huge for me. All right, so that's what we're looking at as far as our price point. Again, everything, when you look at it on paper, looks great, right? The price point, the design is awesome. They help out heroes, little bonus point there. I love to see all that, but let's go to the performance part now. Let's start with the chipping green, and let's see how it does out there with chipping and putting. Very soft. Oh, wow, not a lot of tug. Not a lot of tug at all. I expected a little more bite. Maybe I didn't hit it 100% clean. Okay, there we go. Wow, yeah, no, that's not really that impressive. Let's run it back. Maybe I had a little too high expectations with this club, but let me go ahead and try one more time here. Okay, well, I'm happy it went in, but I'm not happy with the firm rollout. That was a little chunky, though. There we go, that's perfect. Okay. I mean, again, I'm not super impressed. I mean, if you hit it 100% crisp, you get a little bit, but I expected a little bit more than that. I really did. Let me try to open the face a little wider. Yeah, I mean, so I opened the face, hit a cut. I didn't see a heavy shoot to the right, but I saw a little bit. So it's got some rotation. Let me try left. Okay, a little bit. You know, after like 50 chip shots with this thing, I'm just not super impressed. That's all. I mean, for a tour ball like this, I would expect it to have a little more bite. You know, I would call it around 30%. You know, that's really all I can give it. I just don't see any stopping power, and I don't see any grip. That's the other problem, is there's no grip. You know, a lot of golf balls, you know, I just got done not too long ago testing the Amazon Core golf ball, right? It had more tug than this, so I don't know. That's kind of strange, but let's try the X. No, I mean, you can see the rotation, but there just isn't that bite. There isn't that stopping power. Let me try one more time here. No, I mean, there's just, no, you can see it trying to like it wants to, but no, there's a firm rollout. I think you almost got to get a little bit off the green to actually get it to do anything. Let's run it back and try some side spin. Okay, yeah, well, again, there's a lot of this, like, you know, sometimes when I get a golf ball that has a little bit of rotation, but not a ton, when I put side spin on, what I'll see it do is I'll see the rotation going that way, but it'll kind of just bounce back and forth, bass effect a little bit. Man, it just doesn't seem to have the bite I thought it would. All right, I'm gonna try to really open the face and hit a cut here. Okay, so yeah, I mean, if you open the face, you get a little bit more rotation. So where you're gonna see the most spin with this golf ball is if you're 10 yards, 20 yards off the green, then you'll probably see a little bit more stopping power. All right, starting with the Xtreme Tour, we got the mallet. A little heavy, not bad though, I might have mishit it. Oh, okay, yeah, no, I did mishit it because that's crisp. That's really nice. Yeah, actually, really responsive off the putter. Let me see if it's... Yeah, normal distance control. It has a little bit of pop, but it still falls in that middle ground. There's a crisp, a very light crisp as far as for the feedback and for the sound. It's great. There's not much feeling in the hands, but it has a really good roll. One more time, I just want to see if the roll's true. Boy, pretty close. I mean, I'm gonna call it the 4 just because I don't want to muddy up the 5 out of 5. You know, the 5 I save for like the really max fly, Titleist, the crisp, true rolling golf balls. But that's really good. That's a really solid performance. Let's see if the X model's any different. A little heavy on that one. Wow, boy, that had a lot of pop. Holy cow. All right, the X model. Let's see if it's any different. Ooh, okay, I like that, very nice. Wow, it doesn't take a lot to get it there. I would actually say the distance control on that one is fast. It's a little bit different than the regular Xtreme Tour. Has a little more pop off the putter. 4 out of 5 roll, really solid, and feedback, you can hear the click a little bit more. It's got a crispiness to it, which is nice. But what I really like is the feedback is subdued and it's just a little press in the hands, which is good too. So those do feel like tour balls, they do. They're maybe not the top tier as far as with the mallet putter, but they're just one step below that. They're really good. All right, now we have our blade putter. Let's see if that changes anything. Oh no, heavy, heavy, really heavy. Didn't care for that at all. I don't like the sound. I don't like the feel. There's a lot of feedback. If you mishit it even slightly, it has no problem screaming at you, Gordon Ramsay style, and letting you know. Roll is in between a 3 and a 4 out of 5. I'll call it the 4 to be nice, but I don't care for that at all. The feedback is still really subdued, and it's not a great feeling in the hands anymore. Maybe it's just the putter. There's some of that in there too, but goodness gracious, yeah, I prefer the mallet by far, not even close. Let's try the X model now. Oh, again, just heavy. Just feels heavy. Doesn't feel like it comes off the putter well at all with the blade. Yeah. Again, that's still fast. It comes off with more authority than it does the regular Xtreme Tour. It's okay, I'll be honest with you. I just really don't care for it with the blade at all. The mallet's where it's at by far. So, I mean, above average when it comes to the mallet, average when it comes to the blade, I guess. But for a tour ball like that, I usually have a little bit higher expectations, but still not bad. All right, let's go see how it feels off the irons. All right, 7-iron field test. We got the PXG Xtreme Tour first. Let's see what we're rocking with.
Oh, wow, yeah. A little firmer than I remember, but man, a lot of explosiveness. Like a lot of explosiveness off that ball. Really healthy amount. One more time here. Okay, a little miss hit there. You know, that's solid. It let me know a little bit. It wasn't too obnoxious about it. I would say miss hit feels a 3 out of 5. Right now I've got pure at 4, but I really want to hit one super pure and just verify that. Yeah, that one right there was pretty pure. 3.5, I'll bump it up to a 4. It's not like amazing, but it's good. It's solid, so I like that. Let's try the X now. Now the X with the pitching and the putting had so much more pop. You know, the distance control was a little different, so let's see if that translates to the iron. Miss hit? No, feels a lot like the Xtreme Tour, to be honest with you. Not great. Yeah, there we go. 4 out of 5 on pure hits, a lot more explosiveness. Really nice, I like it. I'll bump it up to the 4, so 3. So again, not bad. Maybe I had a little high expectations just because this was #1 last year on the top 100, but overall solid, you know, slightly above average.
All right, so let's talk some data numbers now. This is what I'm really excited for. I'm interested to see how these perform with new clubs. You know, we're using the Adams Ideas this year, new swing speed. You know, like I said, with the field test, now that I'm using this different set, it's amazing how those Mizuno irons really hid a lot of clickiness. I didn't realize it at the time, but I had the hot metal 921s, and I just never felt, even when I tested golf balls that were like 115 compression, I never felt they were super traditionally clicky. Well, now that I'm using the Adams set this year, now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you know, I'm feeling a lot of click there. And so immediately when I hit these golf balls, it was so surprising. So I am a little nervous, but let's dive in. Let's see what we're working with. 50-yard pitch, backspin RPM first. We're looking at the Xtreme Tour X having 8,519, as you can see on the right there. But the Xtreme Tour has 8,286. So both of those are above average. Both of those are in that, you know, small 8 to mid 8. The mid 8's awesome. The Xtreme Tour X is going to be top 20, top 30, which is great. The Xtreme Tour is still above average, which is awesome as well. The Xtreme Tour X launches just a tad higher. The X model, or I mean the regular Tour model, launches low, as you can see there. 26.4 is definitely on the low side, so fair enough. Okay, that's what I would hope for. You know, you got a Tour ball. It's a great price. I would hope it would be in the green. Not only is it in the green, but that 8,500 is a really solid number that I just don't see that much from this year. So that's great. Now let's go to pitching wedge, and let's start with the Xtreme Tour. And we are looking at a ball speed of 96.1 compared to 96.7. So they're both extremely close. Neither of those numbers are eye-breaking or anything like that. They're both going to end up in the yellow average, but they get the job done. Spin number 7,153 compared to 7,165, so you're talking a 12 RPM difference. So there's really no difference when it comes to the swing speed I'm swinging at compared to these two balls. They're just doing basically the same thing. In fact, even if you look at the launch angle, 24.3, 24.6, basically the same. So yeah, that's kind of a wash. These golf balls really don't separate themselves at all between these two clubs. I'm trying to look for anything. Yeah, no, I mean, that's basically the same test. There's just really no difference in the number. The spin's the same, the swing speed's the same, the distance is within like a yard of each other, you know, so who cares? Ball speed's basically the same. I mean, launch angle's the same. Usually golf balls will separate themselves if you have an X model and a regular Tour model. Usually you'll see one launch really high and one launch kind of low or mid, and then one spin really high and one be more of a distance ball. So a little disappointing there. The numbers are okay, but I'm really disappointed that they didn't separate themselves at all. So maybe that's a swing speed issue. We'll find out. Let's go into 7-iron now. 7-iron, we are looking at, as you can see, when it comes to the ball speed, 117.1 compared to 117.7. They're both, you know, solid in there. 85.1, 84.7. So as far as swing speed, they were extremely close, which is great. Now there's a little bit difference on the spin, which I like to see. 5,200 with the PXG Xtreme Tour, but the Tour X, on the other hand, had almost 5,800, and that's an amazing spin number. So now I'm really glad to see the difference between the two. The Tour is more of like a distance ball is how it's acting, and the other one's got a little more, you know, spin and control, which is, you know, kind of what I would want. Also, if we look at the launch angle, 17.9, which is kind of a little mid-high when it comes to the Tour, but 18.7 is a high launch when it comes to the Xtreme Tour X. So if you're someone who needs a lot of spin and a high launch, the Tour X is the way to go. Looking at as well the distance, relatively close. I got an extra 2 yards, a yard and a half out of the Xtreme Tour, but again, that's probably because of the spin. Both of those numbers are above average, which is good to see. So that's a solid performance. You know, it's just slightly above average. The numbers are solid. I don't think they're going to win any awards, but they get the job done. You start to see that separation a little bit now that I'm swinging a 7-iron a lot faster than I swing a pitching wedge. Now all of a sudden the golf ball feels different. It feels like it's compressing different, and I am getting a little bit different results out of it. So that would tell me at this point that me with the pitching wedge, I just wasn't getting optimal out of it. And it didn't feel like I was getting optimal out of it, but it felt like it was just too firm and too clicky, and like I just wasn't compressing it that well. That's what those numbers justify for me, because now when I get to the 7-iron, totally different results. Now they're starting to separate. So let's see if we get into the driver. Let's see if it separates there at all. When we're looking at ball speed, as you can see, this is a really great performance here. If we look at ball speed, 147.3 on the Tour compared to 146.2 with the Tour X. Very close, but again, just both numbers that are going to be in the top 20, top 10, top 15, somewhere in there. That's great. Spin numbers, 2176, 2047. I love both of those. I prefer a little bit more spin, but as far as being lower spin, that's great. Let's talk about the 1.50 smash factor on the Tour. The 1.49 is nothing to shake a stick at, but my goodness gracious, that is fantastic. 1.50, almost a perfect driver score, basically. I love to see it. 15.4 on your launch angle with the Tour, 16.9 with your X, and again, that's where the golf balls separate themselves now. Getting a very low launch with the Tour, but getting kind of a mid-high launch with the Tour X. So that's at least staying consistent as well. Now that I'm, of course, swinging 98 mile an hour, the golf balls do have some separation. But when it comes to distance, as you can see, again, spot on. I mean, you're talking 0.2 difference in carry, and you're talking a yard difference in total rollout. They're both really great driver numbers. And, if I had to kind of summarize this, basically, long story short, this is how it goes. I put these golf balls at #1 last year. I was swinging a little faster than I am now. A lot of you tried these golf balls over the last year. A lot, because they were #1, and that video's got 80,000 views, and so yeah, a lot of you tried it. Most of you, I would say 95%, have given me the feedback of, yeah, no, I love them, they're awesome. But a lot of you have probably said, well, but they are kind of firm. And at first, I really didn't understand that, because when I was testing with the Mizunos last year, I just didn't feel that at all. But swinging a little faster, different club, the Mizuno hot metals are just so thick, they might have been absorbing a lot of that. Now that I come back and test this year, I kind of validate everything you guys have been saying. I agree with you 1,000%. From an average swinger standpoint, it does feel like I'm just not swinging quite fast enough. Let's get into the accuracy and dispersion. Let's go over to the computer and let's look at that and see how they did.
All right, so starting with the regular PXG Xtreme Tour, if we look at the 50-yard pitch, that is one of the better accuracies I've seen this year. I mean, everything is right on that line. There's one that went a little too far. Maybe there's one that's a smidge right, but the reality is all of those are darts, and I would say 7 out of 10 are going to be really high chance birdie opportunities, so that's really great. If we move one over to the right, that's our pitching wedge. Now, accuracy does take a small little hit here, but you can take that with a grain of salt, because when we look at the distance control, I'm actually really impressed. Again, you've got one left that's off the green, and you've got one right that could be on the fringe, but 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 are at least on the green and going to give you a birdie opportunity. 7-iron, again, accuracy's not great. I do like the distance control, though. It's for the most part pretty good, but as you can see, there's one way left up there at the top, toward the top there, and then the rights, I got two kind of pushes down there at the bottom of your screen, toward the bottom of the yellow. But if we look in the middle there, that circle, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 6 or 7 that are actually all darts. So, I think if you hit it pure, it's really good, but it's a little unforgiving when you open the face a little bit, I found out. Going into the driver, we have 3 pools, again, that are way left at the top of your screen up there on the red. And then after that, the bottom of those are all like right in the fairway good. So basically what that tells me is this golf ball has amazing accuracy potential. If you're a great ball striker, if you're someone who's really confident in that, yeah, you can throw some darts. But if you're like me and you occasionally close the face or open it or whatever, it's not so forgiving. So there's been other golf balls that have been a little bit more accurate in that regard. But overall, this is really solid, and I think, again, it puts it in the above average category, but maybe just not the elite category. Then when we get into the X model, again, 50-yard pitch, it looks like 3 were short there, as you can see. But after that, that is just, I mean, that is amazing. Then we get to the pitching wedge, and again, all those are excellent. All those are birdie opportunities. Already off to a better start, in my opinion, at least. I think that's great. 7-iron, again, you know, you got that pull left there, the top there of the yellow circle, that's a pull left, and then the other 3 are just okay, but look at the 5 that are all just right there, you know, that's great. So I would say 6, 7 out of 10 are going to give me birdie opportunities, and from a 7-iron, I'll take that. Then we get to the driver there, and we've got 4 that are all right dead center of where I'm aiming at, and then we've got 3 pulls to the left and 3 pushes to the right. So again, it's one of those things where I do like the X model a little bit better, surprisingly, when it comes to accuracy and distance control and all that. Not by much, but I do. I think it's a little bit better. But what really this paints a picture for me is that, again, it's a golf ball for skilled golfers. It's going to be for someone who has some pretty decent ball striking and things like that. If you're someone who's still learning the game, this could be really punishing left and right.
All right, let's talk some durability real quick, and then I'll give you my final closing thoughts. Let's start with the PXG here. Now, this is not a perfect 10 out of 10, and this is not possibly even a 9 out of 10. As you can see, I've got some rough edges here. I've got some hits that are pretty hard. Most of the golf ball feels pretty fine, but I mean, there's a couple areas where I'm like, no, there's cracking happening. Like, we got some fish scale effect, which is a new word I just invented. It's where it looks like, you know, these little slits, and it kind of just looks like scales on a fish, and you kind of got to peel it out. Trademarked, by the way. But no, overall, I would call it, you know, an 8 out of 10 because the price is so good. It's so affordable. It's, you know, I mean, it's a solid. It's like a 7.5 out of 10. I'll bump it up to the 8 because I just don't do halves this year. But yeah, no, solid golf ball. I think it'll last you around. This one I would have to toss, though, because this one in particular, I wouldn't trust it with all that fish scale on there. All right, if we look at the Xtreme Tour X, on the other hand, this one does look a little better. This one survived a lot better, actually. Again, you do have a cut here or there. You have a little bit of slits. You know, the outer cover's kind of starting to show a little bit, but it's very solid. This is after, you know, 80 to 90 shots, so it's great. I would call it a 9 out of 10. It feels great still. I would trust it putting. I would trust it in the air. I do feel that 1 or 2 little cut, so it's close, but I'm still going to give it, you know, the 9 out of 10. It's good enough, so for sure. All right, so closing thoughts. You know, is this another best of year performance? Most likely not. It's so hard to do that, like I said, when you change the testing and the swing speed and the clubs and all that stuff. But I do that so that way we can see where golf balls thrive and where they don't thrive. And I think what the test showed this year is that a lot of you, like I said, have come forward and said, this golf ball is really firm, Nick. Like, I like it. It's cool. I'm getting some decent numbers with it, but I'm just, you know, I'm still at 12, 15 handicap, and this thing feels clicky. I would have to agree with that assessment, because now that I've slowed the swing speed down a little bit and I tested with a different set of clubs, yeah, they were definitely firm and clicky, and I'm a firm believer that at this point you need to have a fast swing speed for this golf ball. It is a tour golf ball at heart. It is firmer. Those compression numbers may not mean as much as they used to, but these are high for a reason. They definitely feel a little firmer than I remember. I think to be optimally good through your bag, meaning that you're getting a good reaction out of your short wedges, your gap, your pitching wedge, your 9, as well as through the bag with driver, I think you need to be swinging 105 mile an hour or higher. I just do. You can kind of get away with 100, like from what I tested at like 97, 98, and you can kind of get away with that. But I did not care for the short iron performance at all. I didn't care for when I was, you know, I mean, the wedge spin number was great, but I didn't like the feel. Pitching wedge, very mediocre. The balls didn't even separate themselves because I just wasn't getting enough compression out of either of them. You could just tell. I mean, it just wasn't coming off the club good. What I really noticed also is that during this test, there was multiple times where I would, at the end of my run, I would say, okay, I'm going to swing my normal swing speed, and total different reaction. When you swing about 8 to 10 mile an hour more than what I tested at, I mean, wow, pop off the club, a really loud thwack sound. I mean, just explosiveness. The numbers were fantastic. That's why when like my Golf Spy does their robotic testing, PXG does so well, because with a fast swing speed, it truly does some wonderful things. But you slow it down that 10 mile an hour like I did, now all of a sudden I'm just not getting the same reaction. So who's this golf ball for? It still has a market. It's still a really darn good golf ball. I mean, they sell them for $35 a dozen. If you're a hero, you get it for $28. And I think where that applies is that if you're someone who is a very good golfer and you swing 105 mile an hour plus, and you're tired of paying 50 to 60 a dozen, maybe you use any of them, Strixon, Bridgestone, Callaway, whatever, and you're just tired of paying that amount, I don't think you're going to lose anything by trying for $35 a dozen. I just don't. You know, go on Amazon, order a box, get them in, try them out. If not, sell the rest on eBay or whatever. I mean, it's such a low risk investment, but I think almost anyone who is in that position where you're like, oh, man, I hate having to pay 60 a dozen or 50 a dozen, you got to give these a try, because are these just as good as any other tour ball? Absolutely. In fact, from my swing speed last year and this year, I would call this, if not the best, one of the best tour performances I've seen all year. It beats a lot of tour golf balls I've tried. So yeah, it's still fantastic. You're not going to lose anything. If you need more spin and more height, the X model's for you. If you need a little bit less spin and lower mid-launch, you know, low to mid-launch, somewhere in there, the regular tour model's for you. And that's kind of, you know, a great separation between the two. It's just I didn't get to see it a lot because didn't get it with the pitching wedge. As always, thank you so much. I don't know where these are going to be. They might be top 10, they might be top 20, top 30. We will find out in just a few short weeks, because the top 100's coming up, and in just about a week, we're going to start with top 10s and top 5s. So it's going to be a great quarter 4. I hope you all have your popcorn ready, because it's going to be fun. I'll see you soon.